The Elves are on the path to war, and today they will set siege to the forces of Dol Amroth. Hey, how's it going, guys? My name is Jackie Fish and welcome back to some more Total War Rise of Mordor. Today we are diving right back in with another online siege battle. This one on this beautiful Dol Amroth based map, and they're going to have to fight pretty hard to hold it because the Elves are no easy foe, and they're going to obviously be coming at the forces of Dol Amroth with everything they have. The map itself is ultra cool. We kind of have this outer wall down here which we'll be defending, and then we have this open path protected by a fort itself. So basically, if the Elves want to penetrate the city, they either have to go through the main wall, or they have to go through the keep, or they have to go through both, really depending on what they decide to do. Hopefully they will have to go through both because it makes for the most exciting gameplay, and yeah, I'm really looking forward to it. So taking a quick look at the forces that are being brought today on the battlefield. On the front line for the Elves, we do have a line of spearmen. These guys aren't necessarily the strongest in a siege battle, but the Elves do suffer from having a lot of shielded infantry, so having some is always very useful. They can be used to push up the siege towers, they can be used to push up a battering ram, and so much more. Obviously, in the siege towers themselves, we do have swordsmen, so they're going to be the sword variant, the more aggressive guys. And again, it's good to bring some spears, especially when you're going up against Dol Amroth, because they have such a deadly cavalry force, which is going to be super important. Yeah, as you can see, having these spears pushed onto the battering ram is going to be pretty important. Obviously, the main meat of the army is going to be these archers. Insane range on these bad boys. Really can just, take away enemies at range. Over 225 range is, yeah, pretty goddamn crazy. We also have some of the Elkin riders as well, so a pretty deadly horse and a Frangel-esque person right there leading the forces. And then finally, for the Elves, we do have some of the Hall Guardians who actually do have new weapons now, which is very nice. I think these weapons were introduced in the latest update to kind of give them more of a halberd feel rather than that pike feel, which I think is, yeah, a nice little addition to them. Then if we go over to the defending force of Dol Amroth on their front line defending the walls, we do just have some Belfar, men at arms. These guys just kind of basically throwaway units to hold the enemy in place and not give up the walls so freely. So you definitely do enjoy seeing that. Not a bad pick whatsoever. At the gate itself, though, it is stockpiled with infantry. We do have some of the Prince's Coast Guard, so a very strong halberd unit ready to defend no matter what comes through that gate. You are men of Dol Amroth and you will hold your ground. On either flank, though, we do have a unit of spearmen and another unit of spearmen over there holding that down. A bit further back, we do have the heavier infantry, the Seaward swords. These guys are very strong indeed and can basically go toe-to-toe with any enemy infantry that gets thrown their way. So a very nice unit right there. We do have also some more of these axemen as well. So a nice little shock infantry unit they can get stuck in. And again, I really love that aesthetic. Super cool, super enjoyable. Then finally, we do have some cavalry. We have some archers over here, of course. We have some archers with the beautiful poppy fields. They look great indeed, so they'll be hitting anyone who does get up on that wall. And finally, we do have a unit of dismounted knights of Imrahil as well. So no cavalry that we can see, but there obviously could be plenty hiding right here. I would assume there would be, as this map is perfect for it, as you can push your way out by this fort, and then come down and hit the enemies in the back. So definitely going to be suspecting that we're going to see that as the battle does continue on, though. However, we are going to be getting in on the action as the forces move further and further forward. These guys ready to start their assault on the wall and clear a pretty nice path for the rest of their infantry. Obviously, their main goal will be to take that gatehouse, but taking the gatehouse will really give them the benefit of the doubt and allow them to really go over that first speed hump, which is obviously going to be the walls themselves. Should hopefully be seeing the rest of the drawbridges going down and the soldiers overrunning the defenses. Obviously, as well, the map itself is using the really cool Gondor architecture as well. Love to see it. It's always really awesome whenever we do get to see that. One drawbridge has gone down over there, and the oh wow, actually put some Guardians of the Hall in first. That's pretty interesting. And obviously the YouTube curse. Whenever you zoom in on something, it never ever happens. We're gonna do it now. Yeah, okay, finally we're gonna do it. The YouTube curse is whenever you look at archers, they never fire volleys. If you ever watch me, because they follow anyone else like that, you'll always notice it. But yeah, interesting throwing up a very expensive unit this early on. The Hall Guardians is being lobbed into battle And they're obviously going to be getting hammered with missile fire almost immediately. And this is one of the reasons you don't generally do this, is because it does cause you, obviously this is going to be the main focus point for the entire battle, is just taking these guys down. And they are also going to be engaging some of the men-at-arms up here in the nice little hallway. We can't really see exactly everything, but yeah. I mean, them Hall Guardians are going to have a very good time in this battle, like a very good time. Not really any enemies ready to go up against them. The gate itself is being smashed down by that battering ram. And it is going to get smashed open. Probably on the next hit. There we go. Smashed open. And this is going to open a path for the elves to start pushing in. Obviously, the Prince's Coast Guard is going to be a hard force to break through. And I wouldn't be surprised if we did just start to see a lot of the missile fire being focused in through this gatehouse. Obviously, the elves are more than skilled enough to focus their bows on this little section of the settlement. And yeah, clear a path through these guys. I think we might be seeing the archers moving into position. More swords moving, more spears moving. Yeah, and, you know, hammering this with archer fire would be very good because it just cleared them out. And these guys are, you know, a super scary unit. Howards from the front is a unit you never really want to fight. Over on the other side as well, we are seeing more Hall Guardians. But again, you're seeing kind of a punishment for doing this. Hall Guardians is being absolutely peppered with missile fire. As good as they are, as strong as they are, they're still struggling to break this down. And obviously, as long as this infantry unit just holds them in place, as that elven commander just slices down and then his right-hand man helps out. But the arrow fire is doing the damage. You know, these guys are sacrificial lambs on the wall, so trading very well right now. And yeah, nice play by the defenders just to focus that missile fire on a very, very valuable target. And as I said, that's one of the reasons you don't really see this happen too much, as that guy just gets skewered out of the sky. Brutal. Yeah, this unit is going to need reinforcements down to 69 men. Nice. Over on the other side as well, we do also have the Blades doing a pretty decent job. So they'll be able to clear this out kind of nicely. But really, the main ploy of the Elves is to try and clear out these walls as best as they can, and then get their own archers on the walls. Because if they can get their own archers on these walls, and they can just quite happily hammer down. And I think that's exactly what we're starting to see over here. We're seeing these archers brought down. Obviously getting the archers over here to start maybe kind of causing some crossfire down there would be absolutely perfect indeed. And I'm sure that's what we're going to be seeing. These archers are also moving up. I wonder if they were targeted to try and shoot these guys and they're just struggling to do it. These are also the Forest Rangers, which I believe are one of the sub-mod units. Obviously Dol Amroth being a sub-mod faction. So yeah, they look really, really cool indeed. They march further forward, ready for war. And the Elven General running from battlefield to battlefield, giving command, telling the men where to be. These guys are, yeah, seemingly like they need to fall back because they're getting a bit too close for comfort. And that is never too good because, yeah, the Elves are going to be having a hard time breaking through this defensive position, that's for sure. They're going to really need to make sure they go elsewhere to help out there. Fighting on the stairs has also occurred. But yeah, I mean, so far, so good. These soldiers have only racked up 3 kills. So basically getting slaughtered, but to their right, there's a quarter strength unit of Hall Guardians just due to all this missile fire. And these archers still have plenty of ammunition left, so yeah, still doing very, very nice amounts of damage, especially in a battle like this where numbers are pretty valuable. This isn't a 2v2 or a 3v4 or 4v4. This is a 1v1, so you know, units really do matter. So losing a unit like that is going to definitely come back to bite them in this battle. They might just end up running out of soldiers. Our archers are now in range of the enemy missiles, but again, unless you can get them on the walls, they're going to be struggling to do a lot of damage to them. Obviously, they're still elves, so I imagine we will start to see a lot of kills on these marksmen, but the marksmen have kind of already paid for themselves, honestly. There are other positions as well, and yeah, it's really nice to see these archers being brought up again. They are being the focus point for this other unit of missiles. I think, yeah, they have 4 missiles on the defending side, which is obviously completely reasonable. But now is a decision to be made. Do they try and focus down these archers, or do they try and clear out these guys down here? And it seems like they're trying to clear out the infantry. I don't think that's honestly a bad pick whatsoever. Killing these guys is going to be very valuable. Sorry, let me just get the good angle of Attila, if you can even call this a good angle of Attila. Yeah, this is not a bad pick because, one, this is a very expensive sword unit. You know, this is the upper echelon of the Dol Amroth infantry roster. So killing these guys takes a lot of money away from the enemy team. but also it opens up an avenue for your men to push, because right now there's not really a space for them to go, you know. The infantry is blocking every single side, and you really do need to start making some ground somewhere. So bringing these archers up here is not a bad idea. Unfortunately, though, these are the forest rangers, so they're not going to have anywhere near as much armor as say the other archers. They are the Lords of Lazagan, how you pronounce it. They have nowhere near enough armor as these guys. These guys would be much better suited for the walls themselves. And you can kind of see that the player from Dol Amroth knows this, and he is focusing them down as best as he can. I also think he's also shooting a special type of shot at them to reduce their ammunition or something. And yeah, as you can see, the gatehouse is still holding firm, so these towers are still constantly shooting. It's not a bad plan whatsoever. The archer fire, that archer volley went very, very amiss and completely missed its target by the looks of it. Finally, though, some ground is being made, and the walls have been taken at heavy cost, though. These Hall Guardians down, even though they got 121 kills, they are definitely reduced in their number. These trees as well are pretty well placed. They're blocking a lot of the incoming fire, which is actually really, really nice. Probably, I'm not sure if this was designed to be the case, but yeah, having these trees over here is pretty nice. It gives kind of the defenders a little bit of like inner defense, because a lot of these arrows that are going to be coming in, they'll be getting hit off by the trees, and that's going to give them a little bit of cover. Obviously, you know, still going to be taking a lot of damage, but not bad whatsoever. The forest unit as well moving over, I guess, again, just trying to whittle down the enemy missiles, which I don't necessarily think is a bad idea whatsoever. I'm also pretty impressed as well about how well the swords have done on the front line. They've actually managed to do a pretty decent job against the Coast Guard. The Coast Guard up to 65 kills, so they're obviously trading very well, because this is, I imagine, a cheaper unit. But still not bad whatsoever, considering the swords are fighting them from the front. And if they can get more men round, it does seem like they are trying to bring more soldiers around, but obviously there's spearmen scattered around, so not going to be anything too troublesome. But obviously taking this gatehouse is going to be pretty important. I also feel like as well they should just maybe try to shoot through this, but again, maybe they couldn't. Maybe the AI just would not focus through this gatehouse. I think like adding a unit of archers here would have been a very smart idea, and just kind of hammer shots into these Coast Guard. You'd break them down very quickly. Does seem like this unit of spears being brought out, though, and a unit of other spears being brought in. But again, they've lost a lot of men doing that. I think they were trying to pull through a little bit, and as you can see, it's given the Coast Guard an extra 30 kills. Yeah, giving them actually literally another 30 kills, which is going to be a big help in this engagement. And even still, it looks like they're racking up more and more kills. Yeah, these guys are dropping like flies right now. The Coast Guard are licking their lips. More of the archer fire as well being split around as more swords are brought up. These seaward sword infantry are now slowly losing more and more men as the fighting does continue. And this is, I think, will be the main break point for this battle. I think if they can break through this and they can really open up this battlefield, obviously there's shock infantry and more reinforcements. The unit of shock infantry actually already being committed over to this side of the battle, which is really good for the attackers, because obviously the attackers don't really want to be fighting these guys because of their capability of killing armor. But the more soldiers the defenders commit means when there is a break, when there is a gap, they can really exploit it with their superior numbers. Balance power as well is super even. Apparently, the forces of Dol Amroth actually have 600 more men right now, which is quite a lot indeed. But the pressure is really on. And yeah, I honestly do not think it's a bad idea just to slowly try and focus down this unit of swords, open up this breach. We have another unit of seaward swords coming out of the fog of war. And as deadly as these archers are, I think at this point in the battle, it's just not even worth focusing down the archers. You're not going to kill enough of them to make a difference, so it's probably better for your missiles to be focused elsewhere. Killing the infantry, making the break, I think that's going to be very useful. Does it seem like they're going to be going ahead and mounting these walls, which again, I never think is a bad idea. It can be kind of a little bit scary because all that missile fire is going to be focused down, but if your sole purpose is to kill the enemy missiles, getting your archers on the wall will do that. These guys will decimate them at close range. One of the reasons they haven't really been racking up as many kills as maybe we know them to do is because they're firing so many arcing shots. Doesn't seem like the shock infantry have done its damage now and are pulling out. I love the shields on the back of the shock infantry. Very nice indeed. And yeah, I think this one lone soldier or them soldiers over there, yeah, getting hammered. The elves are going to be returning fire though with quick retort to the enemy. And they'll be able to kill these bowmen fairly quickly, I would assume. Even though it is 3 against 1, as soon as both of these guys get up here, they'll be able to do some serious damage. And these are definitely the archers you want on the wall as well, because they do have a lot of decent armor as well. And the fact that they can fire back as well. They do also have some cover as well. You know, up to their chest is covered, so a lot of these arrows won't be finding their mark. And yeah, as soon as they start firing back, I think we'll see these archers dropping very, very quickly, as these bowmen are super scary. Especially when they're firing at a normal trajectory as well, instead of having to arc their shots. It will be a very, very scary battle indeed. Another unit of Hall Guardians being committed to the battle, and this one has been fairly unmolested in the engagement. The other ones being obviously focused down almost immediately, so getting these guys in is going to be a big help. And they're going to be able to make quick work of these spearmen. Not really too much problem. You can already see up to 144 kills. My god, maybe these guys are the ones who are already on here dealing with this unit of swords there. Most likely the case. But able to rack up a lot of kills. 147 kills for only 19 casualties. Not too bad. And that's probably why we're seeing a unit of swords being brought over. Yeah, the last like kind of remnants of the forces of Dol Amroth being really committed here. Where is the general as well? Honestly, would not be a bad idea to maybe do something cheeky, because it doesn't look like Dol Amroth have any cavalry. Now that we're seeing the last kind of infantry being committed to this breach point, I wouldn't be surprised if, yeah, that this was all they had. It probably is all they have. I can't imagine they could afford a unit of cavalry, so maybe just setting this unit of cavalry round here, down here, and then just start hammering and anviling into these archers. You could make, you could do some really good work, and I think they'll need it, because the balance of power is shifting out of their favor, which is... yeah, not great. Obviously, these archers able to really do some serious work now. Obviously, focusing down the enemy general and also just killing some archers. These archers are almost out of ammunition. I think what they need to do is focus down the infantry. Really just try and kill this infantry, make a path for their men to break through. Because right now, these archers are so... obviously, they're mainly focusing down the general unit. But yeah, these archers are basically out of ammunition. So there's no point shooting them. Their impact on the battle is so minuscule. Whereas making a breach point will be absolutely huge. And here we go. We are seeing that Elkin Rider taking my advice. It's almost as if they could hear me. Moving around this flank. And then moving in. And I think this is a good time. It's a good idea that they haven't committed this general too early. It's a good idea they didn't just throw this one in willy-nilly at the beginning of the battle, because that wouldn't have worked, because there would have been so many more soldiers back here to stop this. Right now, this zone of the battlefield is fairly clean. The archers are scared of all the infantry, and now this cavalry can come around and just cause some issues. Even against this infantry, there's no spears to hold them, so they could rip through the shock infantry as well, which would be very, very valuable indeed. And obviously, as this battle has gone on, there is not really any, there isn't really any infantry in reserve now that could really withstand a cavalry charge. So that Elkin Rider is going to do some serious, serious damage, I would assume. And yeah, as I said, I would probably focus all my archers now onto this infantry. Obviously, if you're on range of shock infantry, focus down on shock infantry. But just making a breach point is pretty important. Because as soon as you open this battlefield up, that's going to be really devastating. And also as well, like, what you need to do, this is literally going to win them the battle if this is what's going to happen. Smash the cavalry in, recharge these guys, and then push on and recharge this infantry. Charging the seaward infantry in the back, you'll kill about 40 of them on the charge. Because this is a super heavy cavalry unit, it's a general unit. You're going to kill about 40 of them on the charge, and then if they turn around to counter-charge you, you then bring around all this infantry and charge it forward. It really is, you know, game-winning plays like that can definitely just devastate the battle. And because there's no other infantry around here to stop them from like rear charging, ideally what you would do is you'd let them charge this unit of cavalry, and then you'd charge in from multiple sides with your shock infantry and just try and pin them down. But this cavalry is gonna absolutely turn the tide of battle, and it was really nice play there by the elven person to keep them at bay. We'll have to see though if this does get performed, because this could go very badly. Obviously they focus on the wrong units, they don't come to the battle soon enough. Maybe they get bogged down by enemy infantry, but this should be a devastating blow to the defense. And one of the reasons I always like to bring at least one unit of cavalry if I'm defending, just because the enemy generally will have a unit of cavalry, and it's just nice to have them countered. Looks like they're going to be charging into his graveyard as well. Truly a graveyard after the Elfkin are done with them. Smashing into the archers, ripping them through. Not really the best charge in the world. They need to keep on going. We need to keep on going and smash into the back of that sealed infantry off in the distance. Obviously, their main focus can be on maybe killing these archers, but I just don't think they need to. Obviously, the archers will be shooting them, but there's so few of them here now that I think just it's so much better to be throwing it forward and just smashing it into the back of this infantry unit. You're literally going to probably break it with one devastating charge. And there's just more infantry coming over, but yeah, what can they really even do? And they need to be very, very careful. It does seem like the elves are kill hungry though, and they do want to kill these archers again. They're basically useless at the moment. Cavalry pulling out, probably going to go in for another counter charge, maybe even after the enemy general. As I said, this will be such a good play right now if they can get that cavalry to do it. Just in the back of these guys would be juicy. Does seem like they are focused on maybe getting a good charge off on this cavalry unit, or sorry, on this infantry unit. And yeah, you can see that devastating charge. They weren't facing the cavalry. Maybe they didn't even notice. Maybe they're too focused on the front line. But yeah, look at the casualties being racked up there. My God, that wasn't bad whatsoever. And now this cavalry can just ping pong through enemy units. Go back into the archers now. And the Elkin Riders up to 141 kills. As I said, I would love to see them brought around. And now the Elven Archers as well can really just focus in on this infantry. And I think that's probably one of the reasons why we are seeing they're losing this battle pretty decisively now. And that is definitely the play. The cavalry, though, still just running away from the shock infantry, taking a little bit of missile fire, but nothing too scary. And honestly, they can pull out. They've kind of brought the attention. They are winning on the other sections of the wall, so they definitely could look to move elsewhere. And the elves themselves do need to be a little bit careful. Unfortunately, a unit of cavalry does get caught by the shock infantry, which is nice. But yeah, it's not like the defenders, not the attackers, sorry, can be so laissez-faire. They have to kind of try and support this infantry fight on the walls because they are running out. If we take a look at the men, they've got spearmen here. They're not going to do good against swords, are they? The actual swords themselves are dropping down over 169 kills. Nice on this unit, so not bad whatsoever there. But yeah, they are running out of men, and these towers are consistently shooting at the enemy. They've been broken here, more swords committed over there, and they are dropping numbers here, like this unit of swords down to 59 and this one down to 51. Yeah, they're going to be running out of soldiers at some point in this battle, so this cavalry necessarily can't be super risky. And at this point, I would probably be throwing in these axes as well. If I could, I'd get them through this little pathway here, but even bringing them around here as well would be a good idea. Try and focus down one part of the battlefield, because everywhere else is holding. So if you could just kind of deal with this section, it would free up a lot of your men. And that's a really nice way to do it. However, obviously, there's nothing really to put this cavalry at bay as it just rips through the elves. Rips through the men of Dol Amroth as if they're not even there. And then straight into the shock infantry as well. Again, the shock infantry just not able to withstand a mounted cavalry charge. And yeah, that unit's just been absolutely decimated. Over 300 kills on the Elkin Riders. Absolutely insane. The sword infantry going to be able to deal with them a little bit better. And you can see this unit is now taking a lot of casualties. Obviously embedding itself in a unit of swords. It's going to be super scary, but just able to really ping pong its way around the battlefield. Dealing with the appropriate units. It's very rock, paper, scissors indeed. We get another cavalry charge here as well, so why not follow it into the abyss. This cavalry devastates a lot of things. But if they get pinned down, and they do find themselves under a lot of missile fire or maybe embedded in spears, they will die very quickly. This unit pulling out from spears will get absolutely melted. It's just they haven't really had it. And this is what you like to see. This is how you deal with it. You let them embed themselves on one of your cheaper units like the archers, and then you throw in a unit of axes, and then the axes will kill them as they come out. You can see they just a lot more men as they pull out. And you basically just stop them. You force them to kind of get themselves stuck into your unit. And you can see this Elven General going down. Now, they're finally going to be going their way towards the battlefield. Over here. Hopefully they are. Because, yeah, as I said, they could just really break this up and open up all the infantry. Because look at that. Yeah, now finally they're coming over here. We'll see how much damage a weakened unit does do to these guys in the back. They're on 99 right now. A charge coming in, immediately dropping them to 94. I mean, I imagine a lot more kills will happen as they pull out of this. Yeah, look at that number drop decisively down to 77. Lost about 20 men on that charge, and that was a very weakened unit of El King riders as well. If they had a few more units in that would have just absolutely decimated them. That's why I think going in the back of them early on would have been a very, very good idea. Once again, the cavalry just turning around and just decimating. These Knights of Imrahil are not braced whatsoever, so the cavalry can just run through them. And even though the general is now finally going to go down, 500 kills on him is no small feat whatsoever. Very impressive indeed. And that could very much turn the tide of this battle. The band's power was very much in favor of the force of Dol Amroth until that general came around and did kind of moved in. But even still, even with that general racking up 500 kills, the elves are still up against it. If the general unit can move in here and block this gap from coming in, I think that'd be a pretty good idea. The rest of the infantry is holding its line. The archers are basically out of ammunition, and unfortunately, you still have an entire unit of shock infantry as well. So yeah, this is actually not bad whatsoever. Bring this unit of shock in to deal with the spearmen is a pretty good matchup. A matchup you definitely want to have happen. You know, these guys going up against heavily armored spears. This is what the shock infantry live for. This is their sole purpose, is to smash into the back of spears and just cut them down. I think as well the Knights of Imrahil being committed as well to this battle. And already you're seeing this shock infantry doing a very good job. And imagine if they managed to keep the other one alive as well, having 2 units of shock infantry in. That'd be pretty impressive indeed. Another unit of spears being brought down, but they don't really have the killing power. And yeah, as you can see, like these seaward swordsmen holding the line, not giving the enemy an inch of this settlement. Able to really just keep them at bay. Rattling off their armor and shields, but still whittling them down. And the seaward swords have this fight on this side. This side is going to be a little bit scary, but again, the Elkin riders are dropping down. This is being kept at bay, not necessarily winning, but being kept at bay. And for example, if these guys can maybe make their way around, like charge into the back of, sorry, if I can charge into the back of this, break these guys, because again, the elves don't have that general unit either. So I think Dol Amroth are looking pretty good, honestly. Everything's committed to this battle, right? There's nothing in reserve anywhere, no. Also, this map is super cool as well. I love it when the map modders take their time to like create a sensible settlement. Like, it makes sense they're farming. They have to be able to fill this keep and everyone inside the settlement somehow, and that makes sense. Obviously, they have a port as well to bring in grain and fish and stuff, but even still, it's really cool to see stuff like that. And I think it's a small detail that makes the map itself very interesting indeed. But yeah, going back to the battle, like, I think the forces of Dol Amroth really have this. Again, moving in the Knights of Imrahil into the back of these spearmen. That's going to shake them and probably end up breaking them fairly quickly. They honestly don't have the morale to really deal with this, and there's nothing to kill the Knights of Imrahil whatsoever, so they're going to be able to take down these units bit by bit. And even with like the Hall Guardians over here down to 3 men, even though they've racked up a lot of kills, this is not necessarily going to be enough, and this battle is going to go down to the wire. Obviously, killing these guys is going to be huge, because it's going to free up so many of their men to move in elsewhere. And I think maybe trying to master out this section of the battlefield would be a very good idea. Unfortunately though, the elves are making heavy progress and against these spearmen. The spearmen down to red morale, and they're just exhausted after this heavy fighting. So I don't know how much longer they'll be able to hold the line for. But still doing a decent enough job as the knights move over. The enemy morale dropping bit by bit. But again, same with the infantry over on this side. A lot of these archers who are heavily depleted, their morale is dropping. So if the elves can kill the Knights of Imrahil and slay that general unit, then my god, the battle will completely turn on its head. But we're starting to get some more elves breaking here. Yeah, as their energy levels drop to being exhausted, You can see that red morale. I honestly do not know. This match is too close to call. I think the forces of Dol Amroth have this just because of the sheer amount of swords they have and shock infantry, whereas the elves have a lot of spears left. But honestly, who knows? If they get a lucky kill on the Knights of Rimmerhill and manage to snipe out that general unit, then that morale debuff will be absolutely massive for the men. Ooh, we are seeing some elven archers being brought around. Did they manage to break through this section? They did. I guess there's so few men here that they can just pull their soldiers through. And charging into the back, that is going to be huge. And that could literally have won them the battle right there. Breaking these guys is going to be absolutely massive. However, a nice little counter charge. But the Lords of Lazagan have a decent morale, green morale on their entire unit. So that charge could definitely turn the tide of the battle. And the elves just aren't breaking soon enough. They need this unit to break as well so they can reinforce this section of the battlefield ASAP. There you go, the shock infantry breaking, and that could just send a chain route throughout the men of Dol Amroth. Another unit of the archers breaking over there, and I think this has maybe just turned the tide in favor of the elves. But I mean, what an uphill battle for them. Obviously, the battle is not over yet. Still 3 minutes left, and it could go either way. The sways of battle definitely do have an interesting wind. They can change at any moment. But I think that counter charge, killing that shock infantry, is going to be pretty huge. And the elves being the elves, having that high morale, I think it's going to be hard to mass rout them. And that's really their only goal. And as you can start to see, they are grinding away, slightly winning in a few of these areas. Both sides only have 300 men. That's insane. This is such an insanely close battle. They have finally taken the gatehouse as well. Maybe it took that a little while ago, but even still, they finally now have the gatehouse, which is good. And we just got these like little pockets of resistance, and maybe if they ended like a couple minutes earlier, they would have been able to reinforce all of this. But now the Knights of Rimmerhill are up against it. Rest of the soldiers are completely broken. Yeah, and it's just the Knights of Rimmerhill. And I think the elves have this one, but oh my god, what an insane battle that was. Literally down to the wire. And the elves definitely gave that all they got. And honestly, it would have been an absolute slaughter as well. If they didn't have that general unit getting 500 kills, of course the Dol Amroth would have held this settlement very, very easily. Almost without no problem whatsoever. Which is obviously super impressive because the elves are not an easy faction, but again, they're an elite faction. And elite factions definitely do struggle in sieges because their units are so valuable, and it means that the defenders can really focus down their missile fight. Killing them 2 units of Hall Guardians early on in the battle was just absolutely huge. And definitely gave them that advantage. Speaking of which, the Hall Guardians coming in for some revenge. Right here. Moving on the Knights of Rimmerhill, who are putting up an admirable fight. Definitely cannot complain one bit. They are showing us the true worth of the Grand City of Dol Amroth. But more and more infantry coming in, and these guys are now down to a final few. Routing is going to incur. There is also some more soldiers over on this left-hand side as well. That is going to be GG. And yeah, really that cavalry made this battle. They really turned the tide from a pretty decisive defeat to I guess a Pyrrhic victory. Yeah, Pyrrhic victory is what Tillett calls it. So GG to the elves indeed. Yeah, 502 kills on them. Absolutely insane. And yeah, just the entire Elven roster doing a good job. Definitely could have maybe dropped a couple units of spears and brought some more swords, but not bad whatsoever with that army. I mean, obviously on Dol Amroth as well, a pretty nice setup there. The infantry is just so good, even against heavy elven swords and, heavy elite armor, Hall Guardians and stuff. Still doing a pretty good job indeed. It was just that cavalry that really turned the tide of the battle. They also outnumbered the Elves as well by almost 1,000 men. That is wild indeed. But hopefully you guys enjoyed this battle. If you did, make sure you drop a like and a comment down below. It really does genuinely help out the channel. Don't just think I'm saying this. It does make a big difference. And let me know that you guys do enjoy this. Obviously, hit that subscribe button if you aren't already subscribed. Make sure you join the Rise of Mordor Discord if you want to find people like this to play with. And I'll see you guys in the next one.